well, let me see. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Here's a place where we advocate for disability inclusion and spread awareness to make the world just a little bit brighter. My name is Janelle. I'm wearing a lilac shirt with some black tie-dye at the bottom, and background is that I'm sitting here in my room. Today I want to talk about a topic that I feel has been kind of increasingly happening within the disability community, or happening to people within the disability community, and it just needs to stop. So let's get into it. So a very popular thing that happens now, and of course I know 90, maybe 85% of people are not doing this, but it has become increasingly more common, and it just needs to stop. And it's fake claiming. So I feel like fake claiming has been such a big thing. I mean, it's happened before in the past, but I feel like it's just increased significantly so much in the last couple of years, especially towards people within the disability community. And it needs to stop. Yes, there are people that have, faked having a condition, faked having cancer, faked having, a disability for views on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, or YouTube, for views, for clout, as the kids would say. And yes, that's happened, but that does not mean that just because that happened, that now everybody else that you see is faking as well. There are actually people that create content to spread awareness or to educate people, and not just for views, not just for clout, not just for anything. Yes, like I said, I know there have been people that have done that in the past. There are tons of videos on it if you want to know who did what, whatever. But it happens so much. I know within the Tourette syndrome community, because I have Tourette syndrome, it's happened. There's so many people that get that. Almost every person I know, because I'm friends with quite a few people who are Tourette syndrome advocates, but I know so many people who like have experienced this at least once, where you're just making a video, you're educating people, and then in the comments it has to be, oh, this person's faking, or people posting about it on the fake disorders cringe on Reddit. Like, things like that need to stop, because that's bullying. Essentially, if we boil down to it, that's bullying. Whether you believe a person has a disability or not doesn't mean that you sit there and create a whole post on it and say why you think this person doesn't really have that disability, blah blah blah. That's You're doing too much. You're doing too much. And that's bullying. And it needs to stop. I feel like one of the biggest reasons people will sit and like fake claim, or say, one of the things that they say is, well, my insert whatever, my brother's um, classmate has fill in the blank disability, and they don't do that, or they do this and you don't, or whatever. That No, everybody's experience with disability is a little different because it's a spectrum, right? So, for example, Tourette syndrome, I know a lot of people within the Tourette syndrome community that are advocates, because it's a shared experience, but there are still differences between us. Some people were started experiencing symptoms and tics at a young age. Some people not till later in life. Some people got diagnosed right away. Some people didn't get diagnosed for years and years, like me. Some people feel comfortable driving. Some people don't feel comfortable driving. So even though it's a shared experience, there's still those differences. So just because you see somebody online being able to do something or not being able to do something that some distant relative friend connection can or can't do, does not mean that they're faking it. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. So don't do that. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, it really doesn't. I feel like something really common within the Tourette syndrome community is with people's tics. It's either the video that they're watching, they feel like the person is exaggerating their tics, and their nephew or somebody has these tics and they don't do that. Or it's the exact opposite, and they say, oh, well, my sister's boyfriend had tics, and he had like a lot of tics, and he was like, you know, really loud, and he would yell and he would curse, and you're not doing that, so no, you don't really have Tourette's. You can't say that. Like, it's a spectrum. So you're gonna see some people over here and some people over here, or in the middle, or some people moving, because it's also a dynamic disability, which means it's not just stagnant, right? There's some days with less tics and some days with more tics. There's some days new tics, you know, it's dynamic. And if you don't understand that, that's okay, because maybe you don't have a disability, or maybe you don't have that disability. If you don't understand that, that's okay. But it doesn't mean that you sit there and just fake claim people and say, "Oh, that means you're fake because I knew this person and they didn't do that," or "I knew this person and they did this and you're not doing that." It doesn't make sense. It's time to go. It shows how little you know about that disability when you say that. Because if you knew that it was a spectrum, if you knew you met that one person with this, it means you met that one person with this disability. So it just shows your ignorance, honestly. So just move along. Another thing that I hate, but people do, when they are fake claiming somebody, they say, "Well, prove it." "Well, if you're not faking, then let me see your diagnosis papers from the doctor." Ah, We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. That's unnecessary. And why are you trying to ask to see people's private health information? No. We're not going to do that. Skirt. We're not going to do that. It just doesn't make any sense. If you had an issue like migraines, and it's something you've been dealing with for a while, you're not like, if somebody else says, "Yeah, they have migraines," and you know they don't have it as bad as you. Like, you're not gonna sit there and say, "Oh, well, let me see the paper. Let me see what the doctor diagnosed." No, that's dumb. Even if somebody doesn't have that disability and you're talking to somebody that does, it does not mean that they need to sit there and constantly prove it like an ID. It's not like, "Oh, you said you're this age, let me see your ID," or, you know, "That's your name, that's not your name, let me see your ID." That needs to stop too. But you don't just sit and ask people for proof. Have there been people that have posted it as proof, or, you know, made a video about it and showed the screenshots? Yes. But you should not only believe somebody if they do that. If somebody says, "No, I choose to not do that just because I don't want to put my personal information out there online," then that's fine. Don't ask people to show you their diagnostic papers, because you're not going to sit there and evaluate it like a doctor would. Anyways, so bye. The fact that people are choosing to be vulnerable and share part of their life, share their disability, educate online in the first place, or in person in the first place, um, is already like a bold enough thing. It's already a more like a vulnerable thing to do. Um, Getting question, like, if you're asking a question because you really want to understand something, that's one thing. But if you're just saying, "Oh, you're fake," "Oh, you need to prove it," that's another thing. My friend Carly, from Ticking Together, it's a wonderful YouTube channel. I've talked about her channel briefly before, on my disability YouTubers that I, you know, watch, or disability YouTubers to follow and to check out. I've talked about it before, and she recently had posted about getting a really like ugly comment. Of course, you can just say, "We'll just ignore them. We'll just ignore them." But it was like, well, if you want to prove that that's involuntary, then just like basically telling her to do something that would intentionally hurt herself more than she was already hurting herself with the tick. Like, things like that are absolutely bizarre. Like, why would you even take the time to sit there and type that? I'm not gonna repeat exactly what the person said, but you can go check out um, her channel. You can check out her content. You can check out her TikTok to see that if you're wanting to. But yeah, like, telling people that they have to prove it. No, don't tell people they have to prove it. Even if they could really sit there and say, "Oh, it's worse today, so look, it's a perfect day to prove it." No, like, you're not gonna sit there and ask people to perform for you. That's what you're doing. You're asking people to perform with their disability. That's not a good look on you. It's not. So, anyways, it just really gets on my nerves, because it's just been increase increase, and it's almost like on every video there's somebody fake claiming. And like I said, I have a lot of friends within the Tourette syndrome / neurodivergent community, and almost every one of them has experienced it, where people say that they're just faking it for attention, they're faking it for clout, or ask them to try to prove it because they don't believe them. And it's just being really inconsiderate, because it's something that the person is going through. It's something that they're sharing to educate, and for you to just automatically assume, without even knowing them in real life, to just automatically assume that they're faking it is just really inconsiderate. It's just really, just doesn't make sense. The math ain't math then. Like, you don't even know them in real life. If you don't like something, you have the option to just scroll or click away. You don't have to sit there and type out, well, you fake and you need to prove it. You look foolish. You look silly. You're wasting your time. Don't do that. Don't do that. Especially if you don't even know them in real life. There's only so much that you get in a short video, when people post stuff on, like shorthand content. You don't know, like, how many, you know what? Actually, let's get into that. There are so many times when I myself am recording that maybe at the end result, when I look at this shorthand video, it comes out, you might see 1 tick, maybe 2 ticks, maybe. But you don't know what take that is. That could be take number 7. All the other takes before could have been like, oh, I ticked and I couldn't really recover and I forgot what I was saying, so I gotta start over. Just because you see a quick 1 minute or less video and you're like, well, they didn't really tick there, so they don't really have ticks, or they weren't ticking in that last video and now they're ticking, it does not mean that they are faking. Like, you don't know how many times that person has redone something. You don't even know how many times I have redone parts of this video because of the way I ticked. And no, I'm not trying to sit there and, cover up my ticks in my videos, but there are times that maybe I'll tick or do something that I know really mess with the mic. And I'm like, that's not going to sound good to headphone users. Let me try that again. Or I ticked and then I forgot what I was saying, and then the sentence came out incoherent, and I'm like, okay, let me just stop and start over. So you don't know how many times people have done stuff like that, so you can't judge them based off of a really short clip and say, oh, like, yeah, so they're faking. Or even longer clips. I kind of bulk record my videos, so I mean, sometimes I wear the same shirt, sometimes I switch them out. So if you see like 4 videos back to back and I'm barely ticking in them, it's because that day, one day I recorded it in one sitting, that day was a really good tick day. So maybe I didn't tick as much. I didn't have to redo it as much. So you can't judge people, because there are good days and bad days within your disability. And people really want to sit and look like they have all the proof in the world on a little, clip, or, oh, look in this YouTube video, da da da. But you don't. It's editing. Editing is a thing. Starting over, masking, all these things. So, people always forget about that. People forget to take that into consideration. So, like I said, it's unnecessary to fake claim, because you don't even know. You don't even know them in real life. You don't know what take they're on in the video. You don't even know. That's basically my rant. If people are creating content, spread awareness for disability, just let it be. Like, don't sit there and try to fake claim, because it's not what you expected or what your stigma or stereotype was in your brain, basically. So, thank you guys for watching my content. Please like, comment. Would love to see what you got out of it. And share. Definitely share. And subscribe to help make the world just a little bit brighter. Thanks, guys. Shine bright.